Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about how to price your art as a beginner artist. This is a very important but very difficult topic because as a beginner artist new to the art market, you don't have a track record. It would be easier if you already sold and you can say, okay, I have sold at this price per inch, so that is your price and you can just adjust on that. And if you're experienced, you have a dealer to work with you, you can have a kind of advice from them as well. You have your customers who are willing to pay already a fixed amount because they have paid that amount before. But if you are new and it's kind of chicken and egg, right? Like you need to sell to know what is your price, but if you don't know your price, you cannot sell. And especially if you have never gone to art school, you don't have any professionals to give you personalized advice. You need to be patient and work the math and find out how much you should be charging your customers so you can pay a living wage to yourself and make a sustainable business. You don't want to price too high that make you look like a scam, right? That's not a very good image. You don't want to price too low so that you are damaging your reputation and leaving too much money on the table. So again, what is the price you should charge as a fair price? I want to introduce you my method, that is the baseline pricing method. I just literally made it up. Baseline pricing is a budgeting concept in the project management world. Basically, it's a business kind of concept. Take a pen, piece of paper. If you like Google Sheets and then switch on your computer, let's do some accounting. Number one, the first part is a no-brainer. You know it more than anyone else. That is the material cost. Material cost consists of several parts, again, depending on your production, what kind of material you use. For example, you're a traditional painter, you use acrylic or oil, you have the painting, the canvas, frames, the easels, and if you use projector, 3D printer, those kind of machineries as well. Then you realize that there are two kinds of costs. One is the consumables, right? Those kind of costs are the sunk cost. You cannot salvage once you put that in. Then there are some those kind of costs are amortized costs because they're not immediately consumed. They are consumed over a period of time. Then you can write it off slowly. Suddenly, if it breaks down, then you say, okay, you write it off earlier, but then you buy a new one, then you expect it to last, let's say, 2-3 years for a projector, 3 to 5 years for an easel, depending on the special machinery, the warranty or whatever, depending on the conditions, the way you use it. Of course, you know it better than anyone else. Then you just write it off earlier if it breaks down earlier. The second part is the manual work. I want you to pay yourself a minimum wage. I know it sounded kind of bad and you don't want to pay yourself too low, but again, it's just a starting point. If you know your worth, maybe you're paid by another artist or company a certain amount to do similar kind of works, then that is your hourly rate. That is your wage. If you don't know, you're new to this, you pay yourself a minimum wage. Just to be fair, that is legally the lowest you need to pay yourself. And I think when you are justifying this amount to maybe someone who commissioned your work, it's very fair. Hey, I pay myself a minimum wage. This is the minimum you should be paying. Maybe in your region, that is $10 per hour. Then you spend 10 hours on that piece, so that is 100. You need to pay yourself as a minimum wage. Number three, freelancers cost or business cost. Usually business costs include everything, including your own cost and material cost. But I would like to separate it because some people are not having a business, right? You just want to use it as a hobby artist. You don't want to incorporate, you don't want to run it as a profitable business. Then it could be eliminated from your budgeting. Business costs are usually the cost kind of related to running a business, like accounting, like you hire an accountant, you hire other kind of assistant, right? You hire a office, you have a studio, you pay yourself social security, which is necessary for any employees and business owners. You pay maybe a business license. There are a lot of costs involving depending on how big is your business. And then you just put that in. As a freelancer, you just pay for yourself, which is a lot easier. Don't forget if you pay for some kind of apps like Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere. Those kind of usually licenses are monthly, so business costs are normally counted as a monthly cost, recurring monthly. Number 4, marketing cost. Marketing cost is normally considered as a part of business cost, but it's normally overlooked, and especially for some hobby artists who say, okay, I don't want to run a business, so marketing cost is irrelevant to me. No, you need a website, right? Website costs money because you need to pay for the servers. You want a web store because you need people to pay you, right? You need to receive payment, so you need to pay Shopify. For example, Shopify is not cheap, so that is a cost. You hire photographers to take your portrait or your works to show on social media. That is marketing cost, because every kind of cost associated with getting your work out there for the world to see is a part of your marketing cost. So you need to create another line of budget for marketing, and that's why I want to emphasize this, and that's why I put it as number 4, outside of your own business cost. Number 5, taxes. Taxes here, I mean sales taxes or VAT in Europe, value-added taxes, or any taxes related to exportation, importation of your works. And you need to consult to your local authority, or you need to know when you sell or export your work to another country, what kind of taxes you need to be paying. So there are different regimes. You need to consult perhaps accountant if you're not sure. Here, I do not include your personal income tax, because I think your personal income tax is your own responsibility, especially if you don't make a lot of money. You might not even reach the minimum threshold as a freelancer, as a hobby artist, so then you don't need to be paying that. And also, if you have other businesses like salary, you have some other incomes, and you need to pay taxes on that, has nothing to do with the actual art business, and that's why I want to keep it out. But keep in mind that you do need to declare personal income taxes apart from your business earnings. Number 6, last but not the least, you might say after taxes there are more. Yes, I want you to keep an emergency fund. Just keep a secret pocket and add 10% on the 1 to 4, not the taxes, but 1 to 4, add 10% on that as your emergency fund, because sometimes unfortunate events happen. Maybe you have a water damage, you have a transportation damage, like something get damaged or lost on the way, and then you have a return from maybe your buyers and say they did not expect a certain kind of paintings and you have to refund them. So there are certain kind of extraordinary events might happen, and especially as time goes, you might have some intellectual property right dispute with another artist or company. You need to consult lawyers. So as your business grow, you have all sorts of unfortunate events. This kind of extraordinary things will become kind of ordinary. So you need to keep a secret pocket for those extra spendings. So when you need to put that money, you're not like out of money. You don't need to actually, go and get a loan for some extra costs. You are saving that for the future business growth. And when it becomes enormous, becomes very big, you can reinvest in your business. And now let's run a simple math. Imagine if you spend $1,000 on 10 pieces of works and you pay yourself $800 for producing that 10 pieces of works, and your business cost is your studio and Photoshop license and whatnot, $300 a month. That is, I would say, a minimum you would expect to spend as a freelancer. And then marketing costs $100, that covers your Shopify, maybe some Facebook ads. $100, I would say, is very fair for that month. Therefore, that is $2,200 for 10 pieces of work produced in, let's say, a month. Therefore, each piece is $220. If you're charging anything less than that, you are basically losing money. Of course, if you pay yourself a higher wage, or if you spend more on the business licenses and business costs, that can increase your cost exponentially, depending on how much you are willing to invest. It can be $2,000, it can be $3,000 per month or per piece, really depending on your own situation, but this is just an idea, an overview. Of course, here you can see a problem, a slight problem. What is that problem? From my calculation, you can see that you need to sell all of the 10 pieces to recover all the business costs. Otherwise, again, you are losing money. Therefore, I'm not telling you to just charge the minimum. You can charge twice as much as the minimum. Imagine you can only sell half of your production. Or perhaps you want to do this model as a commissioned work model. So when they are guaranteed to buy all of the works, then you create your own company. Then you give a budget line and say, okay, I'm going to buy this materials. I'm going to rent a studio. I'm going to get my freelancer's license just because this client asked me to paint 20 or 50 works for maybe an office, for a hospital, for a school. So I have the budget to do all of that. And when I'm not able to pay for all of that, when I become a freelancer selling works to potential buyers who did not pay down payment, therefore I will revert to a hobby artist spending. So I cut the business costs. So you can cut certain costs and you have a rough idea of how much you'll be charging. Now you have heard my baseline pricing method. What do you think? Do you have anything to add to? If you want to read more about how to price your art, you can check out my article, which I'm updating constantly. I will leave a link in the description below. If you have any questions, make sure you write me a comment as well. And thank you very much for watching this video. See you next time.